alternate director. Roe is here sitting in for Director Lamb. And Director Seegers is in transit on her way here. She had to be elsewhere, and she's on her way back. So I am flying a little solo, but hopefully I won't crash and burn. So there we go. But thanks. Okay, may I have a motion to adopt the agenda? We do have a few items that have been added in. So motion to adopt the agenda. So moved and seconded. All those in favor? Motion carries. Minutes of the regular meeting minutes of December 13. May I have a motion to receive and adopt, please? So moved and seconded. Are there any changes, additions, errors? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. I don't see any business arising from the minutes or unfinished business coming forward, and we have no presentations or delegations today. We have, I guess we had all of our presentations and delegations and visitors earlier today, but thank you, Sophie, for being here with us. Okay, going on to reports. I'm going to ask for a motion to receive the reports, and then after that, I'll ask the directors if they want to remove any of those recommendations out after that, and just in case we want to discuss any of those separately. So first off, a motion to receive the reports, please. So moved and seconded. Thank you. All those in favor? Motion carries. And directors, are there any recommendations that you would like to pull out? Director Ties?
Yeah, the Planning and Community Development Committee recommendation number 9 from this morning. I'd like to have a separate vote on that because I will have to recuse myself on that topic due to a fiduciary conflict of interest, as I'm currently advising the company applying for that. So.
Okay, thank you, Director Ties. Are there any other recommendations that any of the other directors would like to pull out to discuss separately? Okay, seeing none, so I'm going to ask for a motion to adopt the recommendations from everything there except for recommendation number 9 from this morning's Planning and Community Development Committee. May I have a motion, please? So moved and seconded. Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries. And those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Director Ties, I'll just give you a moment to leave the room. Okay, thank you. And from our Planning and Community Development Committee meeting, we have recommendation number 9. May I have a motion to adopt recommendation 9? Thank you. And a seconder? Thank you. Any further discussion on that recommendation? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, GM. Yes, please, Director McMahon.
I had a process question. This morning, because it was the ports function, there were only 4 areas voting on it, but this afternoon, because it's the board, we all vote? Is that how it works?
I'm going to go over to our corporate officer to explain the around that, please.
Thank you. That's correct. At committee level, the procedure bylaw states that only participants vote, and at the board level, it's voting in accordance with the Local Government Act.
Okay, thank you. It's always good to have the process clarification as we move through. Okay, so no communications, no motions, but we've got some bylaws happening. And so first on pages 22 to 24 of your agenda package. I'll try not to read the whole thing like I did last time. Okay, so if we are going to have third reading on Sunshine Coast Regional District Zoning Bylaw, Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 310.175, 2017, And this is a bylaw to I don't have to read the whole thing because we have it as presented on page 22. May I have, this is for electoral area directors only. We have one vote each on this. May I have a motion for third reading, please? So moved and seconded. Thank you. Any further discussion or debate on the third reading? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of third reading? Thank you. And and because it was only electoral area directors, everyone voted in the affirmative. Next on our agenda, we have the Egmont Pender Harbor Official Community Plan Amendment Bylaw. And this is a bylaw to amend the Egmont Pender Harbor Official Community Plan. This is the one that is in reference to pods, I believe. Or is that the other one? No. They're both. Okay, sorry. Thank you. Okay, so may I have a motion for the first reading, please? So moved, Director Lee, and seconded, Director Ties. All those in favor of first reading? So moved. Okay. And number 6, we have first reading of Sunshine Coast Regional District Electoral Area A zoning amendment. This again, we have first reading on this. It's on pages 27 to 28 of your package. And may I have a motion for first reading, please? So moved, Director Lee. Seconded, Director McMahon. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay. Wow. Getting through the business part of this pretty quickly. We're going on to directors' reports. And let's see. Last time I did it alphabetically. How shall I do it this time? I think what we're going to do is I'm going to start over at the end, over with Director Lee from Area A, please.
This last little while, I've been getting myself up to speed on the issue of cellular service and high-speed internet to Egmont. It's quite a complicated little thing in the fact that the fiber's been run, but it hasn't been broke down to customer loops on the high speed, and the holdup is the cost of the equipment to do it. So I've been trying to understand what's there and what could be done, with the idea of working with our federal minister on that rural program they have, and hopefully to find some capital to break it down. And you saw the results of that in the fact that the Egmont Fire Hall don't have internet, for instance, and that's something that you really do need to fix. I still don't understand all about it, because some businesses, if they're willing to pay, have high-speed internet in Egmont, so I got more to learn. On the cellular side, they did put some of those mini cells in. They just come up last week, but it doesn't cover all of Egmont, but it does help. And I think the solution is probably more mini cells. So it's interesting to learn the technology, but it's also interesting to learn the reasons for not doing it in a small population base, and that's really the issue. I also found out that we have mini cells in this area here to provide cell service, so it's not something new. It was a kind of a eye-opener for me to find out that happened. So on that's been taking a lot of my time. Not to mention reading that many pages. You can't do that in one sitting. But anyways, I'm actually starting to enjoy myself a little more, which is good. Feeling a little less overwhelmed, so that's good too. So, and thanks everybody for the support, the staff and my fellow directors. It's been fun so far. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you, Director Lee. We're going to go across the table and down to the other end of the coast to Director F. And or the director from Area F, Director F. So Director Hiltz, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair Pratt. Well, Happy New Year's to everyone, our first board meeting in 2019. Area F, I think people are still kind of tallying up the toll from the storms. Private property damage, public property damage, association damage, that's from the highways to private property to the Grantham's Wharf. In rough figures, it's at least $100,000 is going to cost something, right, of some sort. Aside from Area F, I agree with Director Lee. I'm starting to feel more comfortable on this side of the fishbowl now, as it's said, and the ongoing training is continuing. The discussions with the area directors forum that we had was great, and to have Mark LaBelle and Ian Wynn come in was terrific. So I thank staff for arranging that. That's great. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. We'll go back across the table and into more of the middle of the coast and to Area D and Roberts Creek. Director Ties, please.
Thank you, Chair Pratt, and yes, Happy New Year to everyone. And thank you for everybody's hard work and diligence, even despite the holidays. I want to mention Chair Pratt in her attempts to reach Flynn Rowe. That's very commendable. And then there's also a lot of ongoing things about the new fire chiefs coming in, and there's a lot of hard work that's been done by staff on that. As to Roberts Creek, I keep wrestling with the Largo Road project, where Largo Road's going to looks like the MOTI wants to put it through, and it might end up being the shortest route between the heart of the creek and Gibson's. And so the residents there are concerned that there will be a lot of traffic coming through that small little road that they're planning on putting through there. And so I will be contacting MOTI once again in the near future, asking for a site visit, so to have a chat with some of the concerned citizens, as well as considering a barrier right at or some sort of removable barrier, whether it's a gate or something like that, at the north end of Largo to prevent traffic from making that a thoroughfare. And that seems to be what the people living on Largo would be happy with or content with. I also we had our first OCP committee meeting with the new OCP members, and the new chair of our OCP committee is a former chair of the OCP committee. Her name is Elaine Futterman, and she'll be great, I'm sure. And her vice chair is Emily Cook. And I've already made some introductions to staff for those two individuals, and they're going to get in touch with staff and get a little bit acquainted as to how the communication paths are going to work between the OCP committee and staff. And other than that, I'm happy to be off the couch. Spent 3 years, not 3 years. It felt like 3 years. 3 weeks on the couch, dealing with various illnesses. So I'm happy to be back up and running, and I'm looking forward to a prosperous 2019 with everybody here. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Ties. We're going to go over to Sechelt and Alternate Director Rowe, please.
Who prepared nothing. Happy New Year, everybody. I will be spending the majority of SCRD time here over the next couple months. Director Lamb will be back around budget time, but otherwise it'll be me. So looking forward to it, looking forward to the year ahead. And I just have to say, no matter where I go, I really enjoy hearing some laughter, whether it's in council or here. And I really appreciate all of you, and I appreciate as well all the work that staff has done to get a great majority of newbies up to speed. It's not missed on anyone, so thank you.
Thank you, Director Rowe. And over to Area E, Elphinstone. Director McMahon, please.
Right, and I also didn't prepare, partly because I was preparing for the Community Association meeting last night, which was quite well attended. I got my first newsletter out in December. I'm going to try and do them on a monthly basis, and I intend to do a direct mail newsletter on paper, but I'm going to wait on that until some of our substantive issues come up at the table, like water, because that's really what everybody wants to hear about. Talking of water, we actually didn't have a lot of damage from the windstorm in Area E, but we were underwater, large parts of it. So the stormwater management problem, there's a lot of flooding on people's private properties and everywhere else. And that's going to be challenging. Of course, the Russell Road washout caught lots of people's attention. That was quite dramatic. I've been assured that with 2 pipes, it'll be better. And then somebody else assured me that they didn't put them in right, so it's going to be the same. Who knows? All the things you hear when you're in this position. Clean Air Society was presented last night to the Community Association. Mark and I are meeting with them on Friday because I think they're interested in trying to bring in a burning bylaw in areas E and F. And the Solar Association is keen to partner with the SCRD on some projects to get solar panels on the roofs of our buildings, similar to the school district, which did such a great job with that. So I tried to take the Christmas break off and not do any of this stuff. I don't know how much success the rest of you had, but we're back, and it's going to be a crazy couple months. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Director McMahon. Down over to the town of Gibsons. Director Beamish, please.
Thank you. We've had a busy time where everybody's back at Gibsons. We had our first committee and council meeting this week after Christmas. The agenda packages were equally as thick as the Planning and Development Committee package was this morning. So it's been a lot of reading, a lot of work this last week. Over Christmas, I guess, or just before Christmas, since our last meeting, I attended 2 meetings with potential proponents for Asian investment groups. And we had Director Pratt, Chair Pratt, and Mayor Seegers attend, along with Scredo and our staff at the town hall. And it was interesting to see that it's a program that enables Asian investors to come over with an investment, part of the immigration program, so that just 2 groups looking. We have, you'll notice today in the local that I've mentioned the regional district, only in the context that I wrote a Talk of the Town report, begging for money. I've pointed out to the community that we are charitable organizations and that monies can be donated. And specifically, I'm looking at, for the town of Gibsons, the opportunity to donate money for the purposes of affordable housing. But over the years, there's been various different donations have been made to municipalities and real property and or cash. We've had, while I was the CAO, we had a house, a life estate donated to us, and that money actually is set aside for the pool. $195,000 in there. We've had land offered to the town at attractive rates. Christensen Lands, for example, I think we paid half the assessed value of the Christensen land. Brothers Park, I think, was a donation at one point in time to the town. And so there's various things can be done. And what I'm trying to kind of focus on affordable housing, we're looking for that opportunity to build our reserves, as well as to give people an opportunity to invest in their community. where they live and see the money used for the purpose for which they donate it. The regional district, Sechelt Indian Band, District of Sechelt, and Town of Gibsons are all listed charities on the CRA site, and they're all eligible to issue tax receipts for the purpose of donation. So it is an opportunity for people to donate and see their monies used. And I would also probably add at probably a zero administration cost, because our administration costs are all incurred in other ways. So that if you give $100 to the town, $100 goes for the purpose for which you donated it. So we're looking at that as an opportunity. I'll see what the response is. It'll be interesting to see what the likes and dislikes or comments are in the local to that idea. And next week, I'm looking forward to attending the Local Government Leadership Academy in Richmond on the 15th, 16th, and 17th, and I will be there. So that, and I think some of you might also be in the neighborhood, so we'll see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Beamish. I will go on to my director's report for Half Moon Bay, as well as chair business. So it seems like so long ago since the last time we met. December the 15th, I'm going to go back to that and report on my breakfast with Santa with the Half Moon Bay Community Association, which was a lot of fun. I did get a selfie with Mrs. Claus and Santa Claus, so it's posted on my social media if you do want to see that. It's there. It's a great shot. So, and it was a really fun occasion to get out and meet some of the community members, a lot of families. Nice to see how many families are in the area, especially very young families. So, so that was really good to see. Not long after that, we had, right before the Christmas break, we had an elected women's luncheon for all of the elected women on the Sunshine Coast. And we went down, we had lunch at the Gumboot Cafe, and it was very well attended. We had trustees from the school board there. We had our directors. We had members of council. We had some of the council members from the Sechelt Indian Band, and it was, I think, 13, 14 of us in total. And Lucy McKiernan was there as representative for Pamela Goldsmith-Jones. And it was a great way to just kind of meet and talk and discuss how we can further work together and further encourage women in politics. So that was wonderful to have. I've also had an informal meeting with our MLA and our MP right before Christmas, and those were both very congenial meetings and laughter at that table as well, so which is good, and talking about areas where we can maybe assist each other and work together on projects from a governance standpoint. Yesterday, the rural issues orientation that we had, I've so appreciated that. So thank you to staff for arranging, as well as having former directors Wynn and LaBelle there. It was great to be able to pick their brains and hear some of their lessons learned, and I found it very valuable, and they were very open, and it was good to have. Just a note for any of our listening audience that don't forget to apply for the APC. We still have, I believe it's January 18th. Is that the deadline date? Yeah, January 18th is the deadline date. You can either find a form on our website, scrd.ca, or contact your local area director, or give the SCRD office a call. Just a note to directors, there'll be a couple of items in our correspondence file. One about the senior planning table asking for an SCRD liaison to that table, so that'll have to be something that we discuss coming up. And then also BC Hydro sent a report out on the storm and how much damage the storm caused, these past storms. And that's been forwarded to staff to be included in the correspondence file as well, because it's quite an interesting report as you go through and see. And and there's some parts of the province that, I think Salt Spring Island, there's some parts that are still without power from those storms. So certainly we were fairly lucky here on the coast, other than the amount of water. And then as my daughter was sitting with me last night as I was still going through the agenda package, and she was watching, we live in Half Moon Bay, but her dad lives in Garden Bay, and she's like, oh, glad I came here. The power's out in Garden Bay. So, but yeah, so it's still something. I mean, we still have quite a few more weeks of some potential weather and windstorms. So, yeah, but anyways, and then for being 2 months in, woohoo, we're doing well. But anyways, so thank you to all of the directors and the staff once again for just your support, and the continual learning opportunities have been fantastic. So with that, we have no new business. We do have an in-camera item, and so after the media has their chance, but I'll just read that let me think about proper process. I have to read that we're going into in camera. I can adjourn from the open meeting, take questions, and then we go into our closed. Is that correct? Thank you. Okay, so we will be, I need a motion that the public be excluded from attendance at the meeting in accordance with Section 91C of the Community Charter, Labor Relations and Other Employee Relations. May I have a motion, please? And a second? Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. And then a motion to adjourn from the open, and then I'll take questions.